Well, and also it was the idea of TCU played on that field too. So I can't help you. It's okay. He doesn't listen to us though.
I
so
hate to like anytime somebody complains about the field conditions. I mean, look, both teams got to play on it, right?
Right there.
Exactly.
Like we made a we talked about it the Carolina game. I mean, that turf was awful, but it didn't make a difference in the game. It just might be in the back of your mind. I don't want to hurt my knee, this playing on this turf. Even the Vikings. I mean, their coordinator's been talking all week about how frustrating it was that their players were sliding all over Lambeau. It's like, how many different types of cleats, how many options you have to
in
wear.
the NFL,
That's
you got
your job.
You got to either a deal with Nike or something. Bring a bunch of cleats.
You go out pregame, right? You go out pregame. You run around, check out the field. Then you go out pregame.
What's a pre-game?
Well, no, a lot of guys go out.
That's when they're out there in just the T-shirts, right?
Yeah, T-shirts, or you get some of these tough guys that go, no shirts when it's 10 degrees outside, and you know what I mean? You ever do a couple hours? No, hell no, I didn't do that.
I just didn't know. Like, was it an old lineman thing?
No,
like, hey.
God, no. But you saw, I think it was, Seattle played at Kansas City a couple weeks ago.
Seattle's wide receivers were all out there.
Yeah, remember they were all out there early with no shirts on and acting tough, and then they got absolutely smacked. It's like, well, it didn't work out for you, did it? Right. That's like the pregame. But you go out there, you check the field. Then you go out pregame where you actually run plays. You do one-on-ones, you block, you figure it out.
TJ, I always thought, like, players came in with at least 4 or 5 pairs of shoes to figure out which one is the perfect cleat to wear in this weather, in this field condition.
Yeah. And with a lot of these guys on the Lions, I mean, well, they're a pretty young team, but a lot of them have played at Lambeau Field. You know what it's going to be, right? You know it's going to be one of those games where you have to going to go with a little bit of the longer cleats, the 7 studs, as they like to call, get a little bit more traction. So you're not sliding around. I think, if you're slipping and sliding around, that is 100% on you. You know what I mean? Just because you have so many options available. Yeah. That's what the pregame's for. Go test it out, figure it out. By the time you get to the game, it's too late, right? You might slip on the first third down that you look back on and you say, that could have been a big play. If you didn't slip, oh my goodness, could have scored a touchdown. You know what I mean? Like, it's too late by the time you get to game day. So coaches, equipment staff, I know those guys are all on it. Get the right cleats. There's so many options. There's no excuse anymore for not having, proper traction on whether you're playing turf or grass games.
So the serious question I was going to ask you is the NFL owners and the resolution they've come up with this week for the AFC playoffs. I can't believe this is real, and I wanted your take on it. They're talking about a coin flip deciding the location of a Baltimore-Cincinnati playoff game. And all that needs to happen is Ravens beat Cincinnati this week and the Chargers beat the Broncos. We're doing a coin flip for the game. And also there are like 17 different ways we could have an AFC title game at a neutral site. TJ, as a player, and I understand the sensitivity with what happened with Damar Hamlin, but like TJ as a player, how is any of this acceptable?
I don't think it is. I mean, look, I know that they're in a tough spot. Obviously, what happened Monday night was unprecedented in modern day football. Nobody that's playing or nobody that's coaching, nobody that's in charge right now has been around for something like that. With that being said, I mean, like you said, you don't want to be insensitive, but you have more details, going into Tuesday, going into Wednesday. Usually Thursday is that time where it's like you have to make a decision, especially with Saturday games coming up. I know yesterday there was big talk about, well, do they add another team to the playoffs? Well, how are you going to do that? Washington's been preparing all week to play a rookie, because there are, like, you know what I mean? Like, you better come out with a decision now. I think Cincinnati came out today, and Zach Taylor had a bit of a gripe. I think, he was like, this isn't what's in the rule book. What's in the rule book?
He wanted winning percentage.
Yeah, what's in the rule book, whatever it says, if it's a no contest or if it's a tie, go with that. And I think that the players around the league, you know what? If you just make a swift decision, you say, "Hey guys, we're considering that Cincy-Buffalo game a tie. Mm-hmm. Let it fall as it may." Right? It's unprecedented times.
It could be a tie in real life.
It could have been, yeah. And I thought that probably would have been the smartest decision. Just say, guys, it's a tie. What?
You almost said something provocative there.
Yeah, I got you. But no, I think that would have been the way to go. Just, hey, it's a tie. Let the chips fall as they may. Get ready for the playoffs. If you feel like you were slighted, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. A guy almost died on the field. This has never happened before. You know what I mean? How can you possibly plan for that? So that would have been the way that I thought they should have gone. Now, I don't even know. Have they even come out with a final decision yet? Have they said that that's what's going to happen? Because the last couple of days, it's just been all it's rumors, and these are the possibilities or options.
It's so many different.
They voted.
It's a myriad of contingency plans, neutral field sites.
Yeah, and
if the Chiefs and
But
Bills,
it's real though. There are real here's what I have, and I mean, TJ, I hesitated from reading all the scenarios, but you have an actual chance of a neutral site game that Roger Goodell gets to determine where it'll be. I think the best guess would be Las Vegas. I don't understand. Even when COVID happened, they made the changes to the season before the year. So we're matching an unprecedented situation on the field, and now making in-season changes. That has never happened in the National Football League. And look, a lot of players. Look, you had was it Joe Mixon who went to social media? I was reading an article. Look, a lot of players are upset.
Yeah,
and I don't know what the answer is. That's why I wanted to ask TJ.
Yeah, and you're based off the decision that they're making, it's going to impact the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, right? If you just say, hey, it's a tie, it is what it is. Everybody knows the exact situation going into Sunday. Right. And, you win, you get this, you lose, whatever. Okay, let's move on. Let's start the playoffs. Now you're talking about.
Were you surprised
there
they
could
didn't
be a
play
coin
that game?
flip. Oh, there could be a. Was I surprised they canceled it?
Yeah, they didn't finish the game.
Oh, they didn't finish it.
Yeah, because no, not that night. But the league told Buffalo to stay in Cincinnati until Wednesday afternoon. Were you surprised they didn't come back and finish that game even 2 days later?
No, I don't think I was. Just because with how serious the situation was. Yep. And at that time, it took, how long did it take after the game? It was at least an hour, if not an hour and a half before there were any updates at all. Nobody knew what was going on. Nobody knew that, it came out later that, they got his pulse back on the field. They got his pulse back in the ambulance, took him to the hospital, had to redo the pulse again. But there were no updates at all. I think what really happened was, his teammates they didn't know. They thought that, Damar Hamlin died on the field. That's what they thought. And even going back the next day to, Buffalo Tuesday, I don't think there were any really positive updates, Mike, until, maybe yesterday, maybe Thursday, I think were the first time where, you started to hear from some family spokespeople, and I think the doctors, might have said something yesterday that were very encouraging. But even that, you're not over that. You're absolutely in no shape to go play a game. And you're talking about, okay, we're going to make them go play, Thursday and then have to rebound again. Maybe we can bump their games to Monday night. That's just such a close turnaround. So I wasn't surprised that they said, you know what, this game's just going to be canceled. We'll figure it out. Now, I think it is fair to obviously criticize how they're figuring that out, because it just seems like it's something that could be so simple, right? It's just saying it's either a no contest or it's a tie. And you know what? Sunday night, we're going to know exactly the playoff seedings. And I'm sorry. I know there's other teams. Look, Kansas City Kansas City probably won't be affected, but Buffalo, Cincinnati,
no, you just do it.
You don't want to punish those teams for not playing that game.
No, you just do it by win percentage.
Right.
By doing it by win percentage, you're not changing things.
Right, and that's what's in the rule book. And I think that's why Cincinnati is so probably so offended right now, because they're going outside of what's written in black and white on paper.
If you go by the win percentage, by not playing that extra game, you actually get a better win percentage.
Yeah, you do.
The whole idea is, I can't imagine being a player and having where I'm playing a playoff game decided by a coin toss.
Yeah.
I just can't make sense of that.
Or even that, or, hey, but if we make it to the AFC Championship game, we don't know where that's going to be played. You know what I mean? There's so many outside distractions that are going to carry on for the next 3 or 4 weeks that just could be completely solved by one thing. It's a tie. Both teams get a tie. That's it. We're moving on. I'm sorry. We're not trying to punish you. We're not trying to, make it unfair to anybody else, guys. But what we all saw Monday night, that was the most serious situation you could go through in not only all professional sports. This is unprecedented. We have to make a decision. This is what we're going with. and so be it. Move on. Get ready for the playoffs. But now it's just I feel like it's going to linger in, up until that conference championship
TJ,
game.
to
And
me,
it's just people are going to be talking about this for the next month.
Yeah, see, to me, I just think that too many people got into the room, and this is where Goodell just needs to step up, be the commissioner, and say, here's what's going to happen, because everybody had a suggestion, which is why it's so convoluted, and we have so many different contingency plans. This is the job of the commissioner. In tough situations like this, you, the commissioner, step in there and say, this is what it's going to be.
Right.
I'm fair, I'm impartial, and here it is.
Yeah.
I don't have a stake in any of this stuff.
You would think, and you would hope, but obviously doesn't look like it's going that way.
No.
Hey, real quick. All right, I mean, who cares at this point? We can just do whatever. TJ, were you watching it live when it happened Monday?
I was not. No,
Okay.
I was probably a couple minutes behind. I got some text. I saw social media start to go off, and then I turned it on, rewound it, went and watched it. I didn't see it exactly when it happened, but I saw it maybe 5 minutes later.
I just wondered what your react, because I'd never seen anything like it. But it's if you didn't see it live, it's no big deal. I wondered as a player. I mean, it's scary as a fan. I can't imagine having played the game, what you feel seeing it.
Yeah, no, and, I know we're going to break, but just even going back and watching it, a couple minutes later, I mean, I think my reaction was probably the same as seeing it live. I thought we all had the same feeling. We all did. I mean, it was gut wrenching. It was deflate. You know what I mean? Like it was awful. It was horrible. And the one I just kept thinking about, that kid's family, his teammates that are standing right there, and all of a sudden you're watching, what seemed to be a normal football play, and 30 seconds later the guy's getting CPR. Right? They're forcing him, oxygen.
He gets up after the hit and he's walking back to the huddle, and he
just went down. And, as a player, I'll just finish with this. As a player, you always prepare for injuries, whether it's an ankle, whether it's, I could potentially get my knee rolled up, and might, get my shoulder dinged up, my arm. You never think about your heart. You always have this immortal type of feel to yourself where, no, that's not going to happen to me. We have the best physicians. We go through physicals so often, they're not going to let, that's never going to come into play. And for a long time, it hasn't come into play. So I think when you see that as a player, it shocks you. I mean, I think it's going to be traumatizing for a lot of people that were not only on that field, but for a lot of players that are still happening today, because that's something that you never thought would happen to you or your teammate. Where now I think in the back of your mind, you're going to say, it's possible.
It's
where
gonna be
it never
difficult
seemed possible before.
Especially this week, because, it's going to be in the back of your mind. I think
how could it not?
Until everybody gets that first hit, and then I think it subsides. But, you'll be a little hesitant. Yeah.
I've got something Lions-related for TJ. And then, fellas, I just saw a report on what I would think would be a stunning potential NFL firing. I want to get both of your opinions on that. We'll do it next.
That's a New York tease right there. That's big city tease.
That's not bad.
That's big city tease.
That's not bad.
We'll get to
That's
that
a B
at
plus.
3:47.
Respectfully.